But hi, so my name is Merle. I'm just going to call Valorant today. Um, as I said, I'm implementing Slack bot server and already done it. I use Heroku for it. So the reason why I use Heroku is because it already um, had some kind of documentation of it, and also it's really easy to deploy, and I don't have to care about some kind of like architecture of it. Actually, you don't need some kind of big architecture for the Slack bot server. So but the most important thing is that I think I really care about the architecture. If you look at the how Express typical Express server looks like, it's really looks so like how do I say it? Not it's not really front end or it's not back end. There is no kind of dependency injection of it, and there's no kind of class on it. There's no kind of decorator on it. So Express is just something like the it's just like for front end engineers to learn the backend, but backend is really heavy, so we'll just put it into lightweight server. So I think this is so as an Express, there's really lightweight server framework. But so what I really care about making a Slackboard server is this is a real software, and and somehow this has to be managed in some kind of into other developers, for example, like server developers. And this my code has to be really clean. But if it's not clean, I have to follow some kind of architecture that are really useful. So I look at the Bulletproof Node.js project architecture. So so before learning this kind of stuff, I used the MVC model view controller, and I really had a hard time on like deciding which part is some kind of handling business logic of it. So so if you look at the further structure of it, the subscriber is just like events and types are the collection of files, and services are the all of the business logic, and models is database models, and loaders is just like it's just like first initiate dependent injectors, and job is like for the other stuff, but there's no matter, and the config is just the setting the env. Um, so so I really like I already understand this kind of thing because there's kind of principle of separation of concern like control law service layer and data access layer. What they does what this blog says that don't put your business logic inside the controllers. So I already understand this because if it's like some kind of all of if you put all of the business logic into one control law, that will be really hard to understand it. So like example, if you look at like route post on it, there's some kind of DTO and validator and those kind of whatever corporate function of it. So if and the first part I use the config. So I put assert because to not the server to start it. So and I made this kind of entry point of the config because already EMP file is here. And so leave is just like my custom like some kind of abstract code. Example Slack UI, just the also the some kind of like unnecessary thing. And server fetch is just like it's not is I don't have to really like make some kind of node fetch uh fetcher into some kind of this kind of thing. I can use some kind of like Octic library, but this is my first time using the GitHub API, so I think this kind of is really some kind of waste of time putting making a server fetch. And loaders, so loader is just like making a dependency so that the dependency is being made here. So and the loaders meaning of even the OS is just like making all of the modules on it, like loading all of the modules on it. Given the GitHub and Slack, I make some kind of I initiate the services, the object of it, and GitHub service is extend from the GitHub fetch. So GitHub has responsibility of the this like some kind of specific API, like creating issue or close the PR or those kind of things. And this GitHub service have some kind of create service issue, and uh, it's just like for the it's just like just all the business logic here. Example, create GitHub issue is just like how we create GitHub issue. You get the issue number, and based on that you create some issue based on the title that we define, and you have to put some kind of thread link on the body of the issue, and that is business logic of it. So I put this kind of feature on. I believe this kind of thing is the business logic, so I put it like here. Even the Slack service is like kind of like this part. And data issue request and data issue close or notify when PR calls. I think this is really their code, but still though, I think this has to be. So the most important part, the most hard part I faced was I the architecture of it. It say there should be some kind of API on the further structure, but Slack's bot server, you don't need API. It's just the full of event listeners. So I tried to put some kind of like my own custom router based on that, utilize it. But I found out that I don't have to do it. So I refactored the whole of the code and I deleted all of the API. So if you look at how does it work, it's just a full of event listeners. There's no API of it. So no one can trigger these events unless they really use the events that we defined. So this were hard parts to understand kind of what is event or not. So this is it. Have a nice day and see you next time. Bye bye.